Hey there and welcome back to XCOM. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of our XCOM Enemy Within Ironman Impossible walkthrough. In the last episode we survived the aliens' assault on our base. Luckily though the damages were manageable. Yes, we lost a few security guards of the XCOM base personnel, but as you can see here, right after the attack our base is already operational again. So whatever we're facing today, let's hope it's going to be a much simpler mission, and since we don't have anything else to do for the time being, we can also immediately start scanning.
Aircraft transfer complete.
Alright, as you can see in the bottom left corner, the transfer of our fighter jets has been completed, so we now have 3 fighter jets above every continent except for Africa, where we're currently building 3 more.
Psionic Lab online.
And there we go with our next facility. The Psionic Labs have been constructed. Now, the Psionic Labs can only be used for testing our soldiers for psionic abilities, unlike the Cybernetics or Genetics Lab where we can actively improve our soldiers. We can test 3 soldiers at the same time. Testing will always take 10 days to complete, and afterwards we then learn whether or not the soldier possesses psionic abilities, which can then be upgraded simply through the soldier's character screen. Now, what's interesting here is that psionic abilities are not actually predetermined. Instead, it is based on chance, and here 3 factors play a role. The first is the will stat of a given soldier. The higher that stat, the higher the chance that soldier is a psionic. The second factor is how many psionics we already have in our squad. The lower that number is, in our case it's 0, the higher the chance that one of the tested soldiers has psionic abilities. Lastly then, soldier rank plays an important role, with lower ranked soldiers having a higher chance of having psionic abilities than higher ranked soldiers. I will spare you the mathematics behind it. What you can take away is that in the beginning, when you don't have any psionic soldiers at all, the formula heavily favors low ranked soldiers. Later then, once a few psionics have been found, the penalty for already having a few psionic soldiers generally outweighs the bonus that a test subject with a low rank receives, so at that point it makes sense to switch over to testing high-level candidates with high will scores. Since we don't have any psionic soldiers yet, we're starting with a few low-ranked soldiers, namely our heavy Kim Lupai, Sniper Michelle Talpers, as well as Assault Zachariah Rucker. For Kim and Michelle, the chance of having psionic abilities is about 28%, for Zachariah it's a little lower at 26%, so with a bit of luck we should see some positive results in about 10 days. Now, I hope that wasn't too confusing. There is actually a very good explanation of the maths behind psionic testing in the XCOM wiki, and I recommend giving that a read if you really want to maximize your chances. For now though, we will continue scanning as we have the construction of the Satellite Nexus coming up. And there we are with another facility that we have not yet seen before, although apart from its increased satellite capacity, the Nexus is not too different from the satellite uplink. You can see it here though, we now have a satellite capacity of 17, one more than we actually would need to put a satellite over every country in the game. The 4 remaining satellites for China, India, Australia and Egypt are also already in construction, so before the end of the month we will have total coverage, and until then we don't really have to worry about panic. Up next, we now have the completion of the research project for our very first plasma weapon, so let's keep scanning. Alright, looks like the aliens have something to say about this, as we have just been hit with another round of alien abductions.
Commander, we have multiple reports of new abductions in progress. The locations are marked on the hologlobe.
Alright, so we could get ourselves a captain-level assault class soldier by going to Australia, and that could actually be very interesting if it's a female soldier, as that would make the Flight of the Valkyries achievement a little easier. Alternatively, we could also go to Egypt for a flat cash bonus of 200 credits, and that would of course be very helpful in pretty much any stage of the game, although we are approaching the end of the month, so new money should be coming in shortly. Finally then, we could obtain 4 more engineers from China, but again we'll receive a new batch of those at the end of the month as well. So we will in fact go for the soldier reward for the first time in this playthrough. I think having a second assault is a great idea in any case, especially if Zachariah, who's currently being tested, does not have any psionic powers, and if it's a female then that's even better in regards to the achievement. So for our squad for this mission we will only make a small change here, as we will actually put Nicholas in the spot of squad leader. His will stat is only a 75, but it's boosted by plus 15 due to his mech suit, and that total of 90 currently makes him the highest willed soldier in our squad. We will also quickly give the arc thrower back to Adam, who knows, maybe we'll be able to capture another alien, and with that we're already good to go.
Central, Big Sky in position on approach of the abduction site. Strike 1 is awaiting drop clearance.
Copy that, Big Sky. Strike 1 is cleared to engage hostile targets. Watch your backs out there, people.
Alright, here we are on a very small map that I believe we have played on before. There is only one central building in the middle and then some room around it. The size of this map means that we will very likely run into enemies soon, potentially even multiple groups at the same time. As always, we will make our first move with Adam to scout ahead and see what he can find.
Time to motor. That's what we're looking for.
Alright, not only does he discover the first melt container with a 3-turn timer on it, but he also finds a pair of Seekers hiding behind the building. However, no other enemies are in sight at the moment and the Seeker's stealth ability can be very annoying, so let's use Resilius to take at least one of them out right here and now.
X-ray down. Enemy spotted.
And there we are. As expected, Seeker number 2 goes into stealth mode, but we also still have Shoji in our squad who has the bioelectric skin gene mod, so if the Seeker comes too close, Shoji will sense it and break its stealth for the entire squad. For that reason, we will prepare our remaining soldiers for a round of overwatches, and then we can see how the aliens respond. And there we are, the Seeker comes closer and reveals itself. I'm not quite sure if bioelectric skin actually has such a large range or if the Seeker wanted to take a shot. In any case, it does not survive the barrage of reaction shots.
I've got a visual.
There is more trouble arriving, however, in the form of 2 mutants accompanied by a mutant Berserker. Shoji lands a reaction shot against the Berserker and is therefore granted a second attempt, this time against one of the regular mutants. That one hits as well, but the mutants have gone into hiding for the moment. So at the moment we only have the Berserker to work with, and we can hopefully lure it a bit closer to our squad if Emilia lands her shot here. Wonderful, she connects, the Berserker comes closer and stops right next to a car, and we will definitely not let this opportunity go to waste.
Target locked.
A Shredder rocket from Andrea does 4 points of damage, the exploding car does an additional 7, and the Berserker now comes closer yet again, and this triggers Close Combat Specialist, and unsurprisingly, Adam lands the shot for the kill. Even better, Adam still has his full move left and there are currently no enemies in sight, so he can stealthily grab the melt.
Got it.
This also reveals the 2 mutants further down the map, currently both out in the open with no cover to protect them, but apart from Adam we really don't have anyone in position to take a shot, so let's go on Overwatch again. Now, I had expected at least one of them to come a bit closer and catch a reaction shot, but for now both mutants stay put and out in the open. We do have a second group arrive on the inside of the building though. Same composition as before, 2 regular mutants and a Berserker.
That thing's gonna blow.
Luckily though, we still have access to a bunch of unused overwatches, so at least the Berserker here is catching some heat.
Adjusting aim.
Miss the target.
Shot wide.
We begin our turn with the Berserker already down to only half health, while both the second melt container as well as the other two mutons are likely hiding somewhere further in the back. We should also not forget about those two exposed mutons over on the other side, but for now let's take care of the Berserker first, as it is already uncomfortably close. A shot from Emilia finds the target and leaves the enemy standing with only 7 hit points, hopefully enough for Rosilius to get himself another kill here. Wonderful, critical hit for the kill, and we're immediately switching over to Shoji for a rocket, which will eliminate one and then severely damage the other muton here.
Goodbye.
So that leaves us with 3 active enemies, all of them mutons, and we can hopefully get that number down to 2 if Adam hits his shot with the plasma pistol here. And he does, another critical hit, and let's not forget to switch him back to the shotgun, just in case another close combat specialist triggers on the alien's next turn. And since we can't see the other 2 mutons here and only have 2 soldiers left to work with, let us put Nicholas and Andrea on overwatch and wait for the enemies to come to us. Apart from a bunch of explosions, however, nothing happens, and it's likely that at least one of the 2 mutons has gone on overwatch as well. So let's do something very aggressive here and barge right into their hiding place with a run and gun from Adam.
10-4.
Alright, there we are, no reaction shots triggered, and now we're in a good position to kill either one of the 2. Now, since Adam is not the guy I worry about, let's bring in Emilia next and see what her chances are, so that Adam can then take care of whoever she does not favor. Alright, the hit chances are fairly similar here for her, so let's use Adam here to take care of the guy in the back first. That one should be a little harder for us to reach in case we don't get the kill, so we're using Adam's rapid fire ability to make sure we do. With Emilia then we go for the other target. She could get herself a critical here, but a kill is unlikely. And in fact she only does 4 points of damage here, so let's now move in our Mech Trooper.
Okay. Hostile unit located.
Alright, it looks like we have just discovered the 4th and final group of enemies, a trio of floaters protecting the second melt container. This makes our turn a bit more interesting now, but at least with Nicholas the strategy doesn't change. I wanted to use collateral damage anyway to blow up the car behind the muton for the kill, and now with a bit of luck that move might even take out 1 or 2 floaters as well.
Preparing to fire.
And indeed it does, muton down, floater down, and only 2 more enemies remain. Now, it would actually be very fitting to capture a floater here, but for that we only need 1 of them, so let's have Rosilius take aim at the other. Lovely, floater down, that leaves only 1 more, and let's see what we can do here. Now, we're moving in Shoji here and go for the grenade. That will do 5 points of damage and leave the floater with only 1 single hit point. Andrea's grenades unfortunately do 1 more point of damage, so they would be enough to kill, and in this case that is not what we want. As you can see, it was a little hard to get the aim right, and I definitely did not want to hit Adam in the process, and I was halfway prepared to either sacrifice the melt on a longer throw or to give up altogether when Shoji found just the right spot.
Keep your head down.
Now we'll move in Andrea anyway and have her hunker down just so we have her ready on the next turn. I don't think we'll need her though.
Minor damage at best.
Now the floater picks the easy target, Mech Trooper Mahoney, and it hits for 4 points of damage. Considering Nicholas's health pool, that is not much more than a scratch however, so we can now move in Adam with the arc thrower and go for the capture.
Another one down. Good work, Commander.
And there we are, we have captured ourselves a floater and we have completed what was very likely the last abduction mission of the game. As I may have mentioned before, once we have satellite coverage over every country, no more abduction missions will appear, so if this was indeed the last, then it was a very good one to wrap things up.
An optimal performance by our soldiers, Commander. The additional meld will surely aid in our research.
Alright, nothing to see here apart from Adam and Rosilius in a close battle for the top spot on our kill list.
Another live capture? Please give my thanks to the main commander. I know it can't be an easy task trying to bring them in alive. You can trust that the research team will make it worth the trouble.
And as we have captured a floater, we can of course now interrogate it, which we'll do in just a moment, and we have also obtained a light plasma rifle that we cannot use just yet. The rest is nothing out of the ordinary, just a bunch of corpses, 10 weapon fragments and 20 additional units of meld. And there we go, our new assault, just like I had hoped, Captain Mary Walker. That does indeed sound like a female soldier. We will, however, rename her in just a second. The panic increase can then safely be ignored. Like I said, we will be launching the remaining 4 satellites at the end of the month, and that will then take care of all panic issues we have at the moment.
Remember, we will be watching.
Now, in just a second, we will meet and level up our new assault, but let me quickly edit her outfit and give her a new name. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, meet our latest recruit, Captain Luisa Santoso, nicknamed Sharky. Both of those names were, of course, as always, chosen from the list of patrons in the naming rights tier and above. Let's hope for their sake that Luisa has a long and prosperous career. Now, let's talk abilities. At the squaddy level, she of course receives a run and gun, and now it's a question of tactical sense or aggression. With Adam, we picked tactical sense for a few more points of defense, but that was mainly due to the early game vulnerabilities that all of our soldiers were having. With Luisa here, we're instead going with aggression, building her up as a bit more of an offensive powerhouse. Now, on the sergeant level, we have lightning reflexes or close and personal. Now, lightning reflexes is a fantastic ability that I almost always recommend picking, because, well, overwatches can be really annoying. However, we already have Adam for that, and close and personal is not too shabby either, as it basically gives her a free shot if she targets an enemy that is within 4 tiles of her. And with a shotgun, that is almost always going to be the case, allowing her to potentially take 3 shots at the same target in one turn. Why 3? Well, because at the lieutenant level we will once again skip flush, just like we did with Adam. I really don't think it's that useful of an ability, and we will instead go with rapid fire, an ability that we all should know pretty well by now. So with this build, Luisa could take a free shot at a close target with close and personal, and then fire twice more for a total of 3 shots with rapid fire. Now, we could technically increase that number even further to a potential 4 if we picked Close Combat Specialist here, and as tempting as that is, I want to diversify a bit and show off as many abilities as possible, so we will instead go with Bring 'em On, which will do additional damage on critical hits. Very important here, the damage bonus scales up with the number of enemies that our squad can see, so we don't actually have to have line of sight with Luisa herself. So I expect this ability to reliably increase her damage output by 2 to 3 points on every critical hit. We might have to use it a bit more strategically though, and make sure not to kill off half of the enemies we can see before using it. So here we are now, right where we left off before this mission, but before we keep scanning and wait for the plasma rifle research to finish, let us complete the floater interrogation now. Alright, the research credit here is only for basic armor technology, and unfortunately we have already researched all of those projects, but the interrogation is of course still very important for the sake of completion. Our science team can now continue working on the plasma rifle, and we can keep scanning and see if they finish it before anything else comes up. Alright, there we are, we have successfully researched the plasma rifle. That means we now have access to the most powerful assault rifle in the game. Sadly though, the only one we actually had was used up in this project, so if we want to use the weapon in combat, we'll either have to make it ourselves or capture more aliens. Now, for the next project, we could of course continue down this path and research some more specialized plasma weaponry, but instead let us quickly shove in Titan armor first. In the upcoming month of August, it is very much recommended to have a few suits of Titan armor ready, and the research takes 11 days, which is not to be underestimated. A lot of things can go wrong in that time, and at least for our assaults and heavies, Titan armor will definitely make a huge difference. Now, with that project underway, however, I think we can make the cut in today's episode. As you can see in the bottom right corner, our next scheduled event is 7 days away, so it is more than likely that another mission pops up in the meantime. For that reason, we will wrap things up right here. As always, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, then I would of course be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can either go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, or maybe check out and pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.